Anyhow, with us this afternoon, we have the second part of the Amazon workshop. We have with me over here on my right, my left here, Provanshu Dey. He is the specialist solutions architect focusing on media, and he is going to take you through this workshop. So please help me welcome him. Big round of applause.
Thank you, Sarah. Good afternoon. How is everybody doing? Good. Hope everyone had a good lunch. We have a really short presentation followed by a lot of hands-on work. So let's get started. We are talking about machine learning and its impact on media and entertainment industry, for example, right? I work with a lot of customers who are looking at media, who are in the media and entertainment industry, and they are looking at machine learning as a way to improve their workflows and essentially extract more value from their content. So just to begin with, right, that here are the key use cases that we see out there in the market, right? We see content moderation, that being one of the key use cases. And as you know that it's an expensive process if you were to do it manually, but you can use a machine learning model to at least get a head start, and your folks, whoever is looking at the actual videos, they will have to look at a much smaller subset. Contextual ad insertion is another example. You would want to make sure that the ads that your viewers are seeing that make sense, that are relevant to the content, right? These are very high value use cases. However, there are low value use cases, right? Like you want to extract metadata from your existing content. You want to basically improve your catalog, etc. Those can be done fairly easily as well. So here are the sources for your media, right? Machine learning can be applied to any of these sources. It hardly matters, but how you apply machine learning, the basic subset could be exactly same. But however, when you look at your specific use case, you might want to do something slightly different for live events versus your social media, etc. What we are going to look at is some basic use cases as part of this workshop, and then we'll go from there. Media workflow enrichment is probably one of the key use cases that our customers are looking at. It all starts with your content being delivered to a S3 bucket. It's one of our storage solutions, and then once it is there, it gets analyzed automatically, and you get additional metadata out of it. And as it is there, it is searchable, right? And you don't really have to spend a lot of time and money cataloging the content by yourself. If you have a library of content that is sitting out there, you don't really know what's out there, you can run it through these AI algorithms, and you have a way to get information out of that fairly quickly. This is the Amazon ML stack. It's a very busy slide. I'll try to walk you through what's out there. So at the very top, we have our AI-enabled services, Rekognition, for example, Transcribe, Translate, etc. These are services that is for folks who don't really need to know machine learning. You get machine learning. You can get machine learning without essentially having a data scientist. That's the idea, right? As an example, if you think of Rekognition, you can extract metadata from your images and videos by sending the video through an API and getting the results out of it. No machine learning knowledge necessary whatsoever. Similarly, Textract. You have a document and you want to get OCR out of it. You want to get information about the document. You can directly get it without really knowing a lot of the details of the algorithms, etc. There are quite a few services, and this is where we see customers spending most of their time. If you are building applications, you might end up using a lot of these services first, and then you can move down the stack. Only when these services doesn't really work for you, right? The AI services don't need any AI developers whatsoever. These are all managed services. They are serverless. You don't really have to run any compute instances or whatnot. It's pay as you go, as you know, right? The immediate level below is Amazon SageMaker. It lets you build, train, and deploy machine learning models very easily with essentially one click, right? This service is essentially for folks where you have data scientists and developers who are not necessarily building new algorithms, but rather solving business problems with existing algorithms. This is a perfect thing for them, but this is not serverless. This is something that you run, and it's an instance, etc. And at the very bottom, we have the frameworks that we have optimized for AWS usage, right? TensorFlow, for example, we have invested a lot of time, a lot of engineering time into optimizing TensorFlow to work with AWS, right? This is for folks who are actually working on not only developing the algorithms, but rather optimizing them for specific use cases, right? So if you look at the actual time spent or the money spent on the ML stack, it will be 70 to 80% would be at the very top at the AI services. Then 20 to 25% will be on SageMaker, essentially the ML services. And the rest of it would be on directly running and building machine learning models on EC2 instances using the frameworks that you see out there. We have Inferencia, we have FPGA, etc. It's all that very high value use cases that are so specific that it cannot be solved with any of the existing algorithms or services. Just briefly about Rekognition. In today's workshop, we'll be mostly covering the AI services, and you will be playing hands-on with that, right? Rekognition is like a Swiss Army knife of your video tools, right? It uses deep learning underneath, but you get a simple, very simplified interface on top of it, so that you can essentially extract information from your images and videos. It can analyze faces. It can analyze celebrities, quite a lot of them. If there is something missing, we can work with that too. It can detect labels in the images. It can extract text and metadata from your pictures and videos. It can do content moderation for you, in the sense that it will give you a moderation score, and that in your application you can decide to show or not to show that image. It can do pathing. It can do basic scene detection, etc. It's state of the art. It's getting the great thing about Rekognition is that it's a managed service. You are not really having to run any compute or having to run. It's totally pay as you go, and it's improving day by day as more and more customers are using it, and we are improving the algorithm on the back end. And your data is your own, right? Your security is our utmost priority. There is no concern about security or anything like that. Then there is Amazon Transcribe. If you have audio and you want to get it translated, typically the industry have been using humans to get that translated. Now you can use Transcribe. Again, this is also pay as you go. You share the audio files with the service, and it will essentially produce an output with an annotation of where the text was and how the text was being translated, etc. We'll try an example today in our workshop. And moving on. So the basic premise is that Rekognition will solve your business needs in about 80 or 90% of the time, right? What happens if that's not the case? And that's where SageMaker comes into picture. We briefly talked about it in the beginning of the presentation. It is a managed service that lets you do all the steps of training a model and deploying a model, etc., in a simplified manner. You can certainly do it on your own, but it's not a trivial thing to do. So we have a managed service for it that takes care of some of these problems for you. As an example, you have several pre-built notebooks that you can start with, right? And not only notebooks, there are a lot of pre-built algorithms. These are ML algorithms that are tuned and ready to go. What you can do is that as opposed to writing a machine learning algorithm on your own, you can start with these algorithms and basically start your training job immediately with your own data, right? If it is not exactly what you are looking for, you have the capability of Jupyter Notebooks to modify it in a way that works for you, right? So it's a great, these Jupyter Notebooks and the built-in algorithms are great starting points for most of your training jobs. That's what we find, right? And not only that, once your algorithms are ready, you can train it, and also you can tune the algorithms in a way that kind of makes sense. Tuning the algorithms is kind of an expensive process, and we have capabilities built into SageMaker that will let you basically use ML to tune your models. It sounds like rocket science, but it's really not, and it saves you a lot of time, end of the day. And what happens is that once your models are trained and ready to go, you can deploy them with one click, and essentially what you get is an HTTP endpoint that you can invoke that is accessible to you. It is auto-scaled. You can use that endpoint just like any other AI services that we were looking at in your applications. Your Lambda code or your code that is running on-prem or in containers or in EC2 can invoke those endpoints and get your results. As simple as that. Moreover, the training jobs can be configured to run on Spot, which can potentially save you up to 90% of your basic EC2 instance cost. Not to mention that there is a fairly elaborate marketplace for SageMaker models, right? We have a lot of partners who have put in their models, and if there is something that you need and it is not available out of the box from SageMaker, that's another place to look at. These are, again, built as part of your AWS services. They are pay as you go, and it's super easy to use within SageMaker. There are over 150 algorithms and models. The ML use cases that are not directly solved by Rekognition and could be a potential candidate for SageMaker are something like this. If you have a custom object that you want to detect, a custom logo, etc., that's a good use case. Activity detection, in the sense that a couple of my colleagues built a demo around automated sports clip creation from live feed. That's an awesome thing to do it in SageMaker, because it's a difficult problem to solve. Today, most of problems like that are solved by humans. But at least in this case, you get a head start, right? You can use ML to create an initial clip and have the humans review it. That will certainly save you a lot of time. Conformance and spatial effects is another other use cases that are fairly common. Here is an example. Netflix, one of our customers, of course, as you know, right? They created a custom machine learning model that goes through the video, identifies, looks at frame by frame, and using ML, they try to identify what are the compelling pictures that can be used for thumbnails or posters or artwork or anything like that, right? They have tuned the model in a way that works for their customers, and you can do that too. But it is not something that is possible to do it with Rekognition directly. And that's it. Thank you for sticking around, and have a great rest of your day.